Greetings to you and welcome to today's special podcast. I think what often inspire our decision to go into a relationship is often the need to find somebody that would what complement us. Okay, in other words, we always have this unending edge. Okay, to find somebody that would complete us. All right. So you'd find some people saying, for instance, I'm looking for my other half, which means he or she is incomplete, and he or she believes that by finding his or her so-called other half in this other person, he or she is definitely going to what? To be complete. Okay. Which I strongly agree with. Okay. Though I don't buy the idea of codependency, okay, because I believe that every human being should be independent, all right? Meaning that, you know, unless probably you are still a kid, so a kid, for instance, needs to be bathed, a kid needs to be fed, a kid needs to be, to be taken care of, to be protected, to be taken to school, you know, that is different. But as adults, I don't believe in codependency, meaning that in a relationship, okay, or even in friendship, okay, you often want somebody that would what? That would be independent just as you are supposed to be independent so that the two of you can collaborate and what? And enhance your lives. I think this is the key motivating factor that really inspire our decision and willingness to start a relationship, right? Now, with that said, I think it's obvious that um, we go into relationships for mutual benefits, okay? Because if somebody is saying he or she wants to find his or her other half in another person, okay? If I say I want to find my other half in another person, in other words, if I want to say I want to find somebody that would complete me, then I have to start asking myself, all right, what am I going to do to also enhance or complete the life of this other person? So it has to be mutual, right? Meaning, if I'm looking forward to collaborating with somebody, then it should be all about what is every person bringing to the table, okay? Meaning, it's just like the time of barter trade, okay, when there wasn't money and people used to trade with goods, just mere goods. So, for instance, I have tomatoes, you have onions, then I give you tomatoes and you give me onions. All right. I think is I don't know whether my example makes sense, but I think this is how a relationship is supposed to be. All right. But that doesn't mean it's just going to be like, 50-50 all the time, and it's just like, you give me this, so I can give you that. If you don't give me this, then I cannot give you that. Because I think the basis of love is actually what? Sacrifice. So we cannot claim we love each other and we are not willing to sacrifice for each other. Okay. At the same time, this love has to be what? Mutual, meaning I can sacrifice for you today. And if tomorrow there is a need for you to also sacrifice for me, you should be willing to also do same. All right. So with that said, I think we now have a clear understanding of why we often go into relationships. All right. But what happens when you go into a relationship and then it's just like I mean, a relationship should be something like a table tennis, right? Right? I think that's how it's supposed to be. But what happens when you are to go into a relationship whereby it's like, you know, um, you have to play the ball and you not get back the ball. So it's like you play the ball and then you have to wait for maybe hours or maybe days. You have to just hope that, okay, this person will play me back the ball. What happens? How could you imagine how terrifying it would be? It's for this reason that I would like to share with you today clear signs, okay, that somebody, okay, for that matter, a woman or a man, is simply interested in using you, right? It's not a mutual relationship. The fellow only wants to exploit you for his or her ego, right? Now, the level of exploitation could be, this much small or this much big. It could vary from, money, all right, to attention, to just buy me lunch or any other thing. So that is the more reason why you have to, be on your guard. You have to actually, have your eyes wide open, as you try to navigate through this issue of relationship. Okay, so I would tell you my personal story. What really inspired this particular video. What happened was that I actually met a girl on a dating app. Okay, and from the get-go, when we started the conversation, I realized that she was very, very responsive, okay? However, her way of texting me was often not accompanied with any weight, if you understand what I mean. Like, there wasn't any... I understand that, you don't just start to show affection to people that you don't know, just right from the beginning. It doesn't happen that way. But neither do you start to flirt with people that you hardly know or you barely know. However, you at least try to be a little bit, I don't know how to put it. It wasn't as if she was cold, okay, but you try to be a little bit romantic, if I may say. Like, you try to, you don't just have to. In my case, for instance, if I'm interested in somebody, I often would use, though I'm not really a big fan of emojis and all of that, but I would on certain occasions use emojis. And my way of texting would not just be like responding by just a single word and that kind of thing, or with yes or no. And then, only, and I actually initiate the conversation, okay? Which means if we start to talk to each other, be it on a dating app or even in real life, if we met in real life, then we exchange contacts. If I reached out and then, or if, for instance, definitely the guy usually started, right? But the fact that the guy usually initiates the relationship, or doesn't mean that, let's say, he's going to be the one that would always text the girl and the girl never. So it's more or less like, so clearly, if you find yourself in a situation whereby you have to always initiate the conversation, but I mean, at the early stages of starting a relationship, it might be understandable. But, I mean, for the very first day, let me put it that way, because I don't think if it takes like 2 or 3 days, he should not still be the one, to say hi, good morning, like how is it? And then she's like, oh, I'm fine. How about you? Or she might not even say how about you. And then you just like, So I think this one sign is the fact that has to do with the chat, the conversation. There should be constant flow of what chat, right? It should be like a give and take kind of thing. Okay. Now, finally, but the good thing about her is that she was very, very responsive, and but I later felt like her responsiveness was more or less like, sometimes if I want to use you, okay, and then I just make it clear to you that I want to use you, you might back up, right? You might run away. So if I don't want you to back off, then what I have to do is to make sure that I kind of manipulate you, meaning I'm going to give you a little bit of attention under your request, meaning that's why unless you reach out, I'm not going to say hi, okay? And it's like you have to come for my affection, you have to beg for my attention, right? That's literally what it means. And then even if I'm to give you, I'm not going to give you as much as you may expect. So I may just respond by just a word, all right? Without necessarily being mean, but without no emoji, just dry message. It carries no weight at all, So, but I did not just want to conclude, okay? I did not just want to conclude too fast. So I decided to still, keep, just ignore these initial red flags and then, try to at least set up a date, right? So in setting up the date was actually planned this Saturday, right? And I'm actually recording the video today, Saturday. No need to tell you the specifics, right? But so I'm actually, in other words, I don't want to come out. I don't want it to seem as if I'm making the video from a place of hate or something. Okay, as you can see, I'm very happy, and to me, if I'm not able to make it up with a girl, that cannot hurt me because I understand the fact that we need to actually deserve to be with each other in order to be with each other, in order to be happy. Okay, I'm not just seeking relationship because of relationship seeking sake, but I want to be in a relationship in which I will actually be happy. So this is the kind of philosophy that I use even when I'm rejected or even when things don't work out with a girl. Okay. So, but what had really happened was that we planned the date today, and then last night before I actually went to bed, I told her about the venue, and I never got a reply. Right until this morning, I said this morning, today in the afternoon, that she replied and said, "Sorry, I slept off." Anyway, I don't know at what time she slept, but replying at noon to tell me that wasn't nothing. I did not really take it that much because she has always been very responsive. All right, but when we set the date, okay, I mean, then she asked for the venue. She wanted specifics about the venue and everything. I gave her those specifics. And I live in the suburbs of Paris, okay, like 30 minutes away from Paris. She also lives probably 30 minutes away from Paris. So, but we were to meet in Paris. So, a few hours later, after she replied at noon, we were to meet around, let's say, 5 p.m., right? So she replied and said she was already in Paris, and that was actually when she even requested for the details about the venue. So she asked where were we, I mean, to give the exact address of the particular restaurant where we were to go. So, which I did, okay. And then she told me she was already in Paris. So that's why she wanted, because she wouldn't like to go back home and then come back at 5 p.m. So she would like to know the address so that in case she's done with whatever that she was doing, she would let me know so that I would just, if I could come earlier, then we could just meet before even 5 p.m. since she was already in Paris. So when she told me this, by curiosity, I just wanted to know, like, what was she doing in Paris? Okay. When I asked this particular question, I did not ask the question with any motive. Okay, I did not have I did not ask this question based on insecurity about the fact that she might be on another date or something. Okay, but I just asked because if somebody tells you, you know what, I know where you stay, or at least you told me where you stay, and then where to meet. And then I'm asking to, like, now you tell me you are already in Paris. So I was just curious to know what was she in Paris doing. And then she was like, this is, I'm in Paris for my personal affairs, and I wouldn't like you to know. And to me, that was weird because I was like, okay, if you would not like me to know simply why you are in Paris, then is there really a need meeting today? Because are we just going to have for dinner? I mean, are we just going for dinner, or we actually going to get to know each other? So if we are going for dinner in order to get to know each other, then, I mean, why would simply telling me, like, why you are now in Paris, because we had planned to meet at 7 p.m. and you are already in Paris at 12. So I was like, why are you, just by curiosity. And she was like, so I was like, okay, if you cannot tell me why you are now in Paris, then is there really a need seeing each other at 5 p.m.? Because I'm afraid you probably would not like to share anything with me. I probably wouldn't be able to get to know you, though that is the purpose of planning this date. So when I said that, she simply went into silence. And then after a few seconds, she told me, anyway, I'm not in Paris because of for another date or something, If you think maybe I'm there for another date, I'm not in Paris anyway. I'm not in Paris for another date. And to me, that was weird. I never accused you of being in Paris for another date. I never said. I was just being curious, to know why you were in Paris. So to me, this coupled with, let's say, the nature in which our conversation went, the short messages that I got from her. And I also remember on one occasion I asked for a call, okay? And then when we called, we started talking about something that she wasn't very comfortable with. And she ran away from the topic. And when I insisted that she allowed me to complete what I wanted to say, she simply said it was too late and then she needed to go to bed. She hung up and just told me good night. And so to me, coupled with all these things, and also the fact that this person doesn't initiate the texting or the conversation, I have to do it. And there's no much affection in her response, okay? I just felt like this was another lunch date. Okay, she was just looking for an opportunity. If really she was in Paris for something, okay, something that was just something important, okay, even if it was to see the doctor or something, I strongly believe she would have told me, you know what, I'm here to see the doctor, I'm here to do A, B, C, or D, I'm here to buy this or that. that would be, I mean, this is the least thing that even you would expect from even somebody that you barely know each other and you don't even have any plan of being romantic or something. This person should be willing to let you know, even if it's a friend, that you know what, I'm in Paris doing A, B, or C, you know. So to me, that was a big red flag, you know. Probably to you, it might not be a red flag because you might be somebody that like mystery. I don't know. But for me, I don't I did not take this mystery lightly. So I was like, okay. When I just examined the whole thing, I just strongly felt that I was going to be used for another lunch date. So I just made it clear to her that, you know what, our values don't just match, okay, because, you know, I'm just afraid I'm going to be dealing with somebody that I would have less information about, and I'm only just going to be in perpetual manipulation. And anytime I try to resist or to ask any question, then it would be like, you know, maybe you've been too controlling. You should not, it's something personal, you know. And to me, I couldn't just conceive this, you know. So based on my story, I think clear signs that a woman wants to use you or even a man wants to use you is if um, just focus on the conversation, okay? If there's no real affection, if it's not a mutual kind of thing, you have to initiate it, you know, then that could be a clear sign that um, you are going to be used. If you are not going to be used for your money, if you are not going to be used for your affection, you know, to be honest with you, I think today is just almost normal for most girls to actually have multiple men. If you don't know, you probably may think, okay, like you probably just playing simply the boyfriend role, okay? So when somebody is trying to date her and she feels like, okay, this guy is probably not that cute or it's probably not my type, or as they usually say it, or she's not, yeah, then he would tell this poor boy that, you know what, I'm sorry, I have a boyfriend, okay? This is the role that you'll be playing in her life. So you're just a boyfriend while she would be mingling with other men. This is the reality. Even there are married women who do all these kind of things these days. So if you are really looking for a quality woman, then you have to make sure that from the get-go, you know, you take into consideration some of these red flags. So at the end of the day, you'll not just be used as a boyfriend tool. Okay, you just occupy the space of a boyfriend in her life, but she's not accountable to you in any way. And you know, if you even ever have kids, unless maybe you go and do DNA tests, you probably might not be able to tell whether these are really your kids. I think this is very scary, you know. So for me, that I think you just have to be careful, right? Just if there's anything shady and suspicious, then there's no need, especially from the early stages. Then you just make sure that you earn it before it's too late, and find somebody that would have genuine interest in you. In my case, to be honest with you, I think she it could be that she really had interest in me but was hiding it, okay? Because I can't say she wasn't interested, okay? Because she was very responsive, okay? She was always just, even when she did not respond immediately, she would apologize before responding. The only thing was that she wasn't really showing a lot of any affection, or very little. She was showing very little affection in her messages. And the last thing was the fact that she wasn't very. I just felt like she wasn't an open book like me, so it was hard for me to read and to know, because if she could deny me simple information about what she was doing in Paris, I suspect most likely that she probably went on another date. Okay. So when I asked the question, what was she doing in Paris? She, like, she had not planned for such a question. Okay. Or she least expected that. So she was just caught unprepared and she don't know how she would respond. Okay. So she was like, I'm there for my personal affairs and I don't know you. This was what she said. I don't know you and I wouldn't want to share what I'm doing. And I'm like, you wouldn't want to share what you are doing in Paris because you don't know me, because we are going to meet for the first time. Then when we meet, what are you going to tell me? Because you not like me to to know anything about you because we've just met. So when I said, okay, if that's the case, then what really are we going to talk about? And she was like, anyway, I'm not here for on another date or anything. So to me, one thing that is very important to me is loyalty and honesty, right? So if I feel like this is not somebody that could be a loyal mate or partner, then I just didn't see the need to continue. So I canceled the date. Let me know in the comment section what is your take on my story.